Welcome back to Street Switch Photography. Tonight we've got a scrutiny committee down at Melton Borough Council, so let's do it.
Street Switch Photography.
And welcome back. I just made it back to my chair because that just popped up on the telly for some silly reason. I didn't even realise there was an actual meeting tonight down at the Melton Borough Council. I did do last night's, which was over in Leicester, and that was a scrutiny committee to do with Rupert Matthews jumping from the Tories to Reform UK, and I was basically saying that he's a career politician. But anyway, I've got this up on the screen and I thought I'd do a live on it tonight. I didn't realise it was on, so let's begin the video and see what they say. Here we go.
I'll now provide a reminder of the evacuation procedure. In the event of having to evacuate the council chamber, please leave by the emergency exit. Please assemble at the far side of the front car park nearest to the park entrance. Officers will be on hand to assist persons who require any assistance. Public recording of the meeting. There is legislation that allows the public to film, record or use social media at a council meeting. This must not be disruptive to the good order of the meeting, nor include any filming or recording of the public seating area. Right, now I have a long list of people to welcome to tonight's meeting. And so in attendance tonight, we have the following representatives from the police, which is Inspector Darren Richardson and Sergeant Dan Foster. Just looking at your shoulder to get your rank.
What did he just say?
And then we've got a number of officers in attendance. We've got the...
Did he say we've got the policeman here? Is a rank.
The Director for Housing and Communities, Michelle Howard, to my right. We've got the Assistant Director for Customers and Communities, Aisha Rahman.
That's a nice name.
Strategic Lead for Safer Communities, Aisha. David Walker. Safer Communities and Neighbourhoods Officer, John Paul. The Safer Communities and Neighbourhoods Officer, Kate T.
Now, it's interesting that this meeting has actually come up with what happened in and around Melton over the past few weeks. Obviously, the crime rates have gone up quite considerably, and these aren't just your normal types of crime either. I'm not going to be mentioning any of them in this video because they may be under investigation, and that would be very, very naughty. So let's crack on.
I'm going
a few moments later.
Zabraska, thank you. We also have Doug Struther here from Housing, and Lydia Russlin, the Director of Place and Prosperity.
Some complicated names in here.
And also we have from Democratic Services, Senior
Dave.
Democratic Services and Scrutiny Officer Adam Green.
That's
and Democratic simple. Services Officer Lauren Isherwood. Is this your first meeting? Right, you're welcome. And in attendance, we also have two members of the Cabinet, Councillors Sarah Cox and Sharon Butcher. Thank you. Right, and I'm just looking around to see how many councillors we've got present. We've got most councillors here tonight, with the exception of one. Okay, move on to the agenda proper. Apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies?
Yeah, I'm sorry I can't be there. I really do apologise. Can you imagine if I was there? Certainly wouldn't be good, would it? Let's crack on.
They've been submitted.
Yes, Chair. I received apologies from Councillors Chubb and Webster.
Thank you. No other apologies.
Tongue punch the fart box.
Here. Can I move on to the minutes of the last meeting, please? And could I first ask, are there any issues people want to raise arising from the minutes? Councillor Gordon.
Yeah, it's just the usual. Where it's got down here for the declarations of interest, where it's
Councillor Gordon, an independent councillor.
As a member of the Waterfield Leisure Centre, if you could just add what I usually add is only insofar as using the facilities and equipment, so I'm allowed to stay in and participate.
And I think they're just two down from Miss Gordon is Simon Lumley, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other matters relating to the minutes? Right, well, I will actually raise one item, and it's item 15 in the minutes, just to remind, and I think it was Councillor Holmes, raised the issue of fly tipping, and we did say that there would be opportunity to refer to that in tonight's meeting under the crime and disorder.
On the fly tipping thing, I did a few videos in that in the past, and it was actually sorted out. So, I mean, they used to open a garage up somewhere up near Betmill Court, and they used to be able to bring your furniture down there every Thursday and actually leave it outside or inside the garage for the council to actually take away. I don't know why that actually got stopped, but I know there was somebody complaining that it was right underneath their window. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that.
Audit report. So at the appropriate time, you're free to ask your questions. There are no other questions. Can I have a proposer to accept the minutes? Councillor Thwaite.
Accepted.
Seconder, Councillor Gordon. And those in favour, please indicate. Thank you.
So we've got 3 people
Okay.
watching. Get liking the video, get sharing the video so we can get some more people in to start chatting.
Move on to the next item on the agenda, item number 3, which is the response tracker.
The what? The response tracker. Is this like to see how the performance of the police actually are? I don't know.
Are there any queries or questions people want to raise in respect of that? No, thank you. Is your microphone off? Declarations of
Hit
interest.
that like button.
I'd like to invite members who wish to do so to make any declarations of interest in respect of items on the agenda for tonight's meeting. No declarations of interest. Thank you. Item 5, review of the forward plan.
Interested.
This is a standing item on the agenda, and any member is welcome to raise any items on the forward plan they believe are appropriate for consideration by scrutiny, either tonight or as part of our work programme. Councillor Lumley.
I just want to raise an issue which was brought up in the last
Yeah, it's Simon Lumley. He wants to raise an issue, so let's have a listen to what old Si has to say. All right, Si.
full council meeting last Thursday. Is the
Fist bump. Let's crack on.
whole issue around sort of like Section 106 money that isn't being spent in time, and we have to give it back to sort of like Leicestershire County Council. With the obviously we are building lots of housing all around the borough on a quite a big scale. Just need to make sure that officers are making sure that this money doesn't expire and it is actually spent in time, because I know
I actually didn't know it could expire. Can it expire? I don't know.
it was raised before
Let's
council
find
meeting
out.
last Thursday, but also back in the 2015 roughly in my ward there was the actual like Doctors Lane development, which we had some money for, but that pot of money did also expire, which was a shame. We got to hand it back to Leicestershire County Council, so obviously it is quite a...
Oh, I bet Leicestershire County Council lapped it up. I wonder what they did with the money after it expired and went back to Leicestershire County Council. It's a shame it can't be sort of put into a pot for something else or something along those lines for Moulton.
and like an issue. Thank you.
I will add some elasticity there, Councillor Lumley, because it's not actually in the forward plan here tonight. But Michelle Howard, I think, will respond.
Yeah, happy to provide advice. Obviously, can't comment on specifics. Councillor Lumley, I don't have the facts for any of the cases you've mentioned this evening. What I am aware of is that the Audit and Standards Committee have Section 106 monitoring on their reserve list on their work programme.
Section 106, that is when you get a planning committee and they give planning applications to people to build houses. They are supposed to put a lump sum of money into the application, and Melton Borough Council are supposed to collect on that, and they haven't been collecting on it to the sum of God knows how much. And it has been mentioned in other meetings.
And so we need to make sure we have a clear distinction between the role of scrutiny, the role of audit and standards. And at this stage, no decisions have been taken around where that may or may not be considered. So with your permission, I will take that away to discuss with the monitoring officer and take some advice and feedback to the chair of this committee and the Audit and Standards Committee. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other matters relating to the forward plan? Okay, thank you. Item 6, review of the scrutiny work programme. Are there any issues people want to raise in respect of the agreed work programme that's part of the papers tonight? Councillor Cliff.
Yeah, it was just an observation in the notes for
Councillor Helen Cliff, this is the lady that actually arranged the protest for Melton Birthing Centre. I'm hoping something's going to happen there.
the youth strategy. I noticed that it has workshop 17th of September 2024 and the first meeting the 14th of November 2024, and then there's no further details. I don't want members to think that nothing's happened since the 14th of November. There have been meetings. We've met with partners, we've met together as well. I think we can see there haven't been a lot of meetings, but it hasn't been as little as what's represented on the programme here. So I just wanted to reassure members.
Just to say hi to Kelly from My Melton. Go over and take a look at her page on Facebook and go and have a follow of it and read some of the things. She does absolutely brilliant coverage on the events in Melton. Hi Kelly, yeah, I get on with Simon as well. He might have different politics to other people, but that's the general idea of having different politics, is to be democratic and have free speech and actually meet somewhere in the middle.
It's not that we've been doing nothing since the 14th of November
Hit the like button, share the video.
last year.
Oh,
Thank you for that. I mean, perhaps if you can provide details of the meetings you've had that could just be incorporated.
Why is the fart sound always comedy gold? It just is. I don't care what people say.
To give a fuller picture in the record. If you could perhaps liaise directly with Adam over that. Thank you. Any other matters relating to the work programme? Okay, I'd just like to mention, it's not so much a comment on the work programme, but just to remind committee members that on the next meeting on the 30th of October, we've got two quite weighty items. It's
date for your diaries, guys. 30th of October. If you want to go and put that down in a diary, pause the video once this is finished and go and write it down. So
our opportunity before Cabinet makes its decisions on the 19th of November. The first is on local government reorganisation and devolution. So we will have before us at that meeting the final.
So for those of you who are wondering what devolution is, it's basically Leicester County Council or Leicestershire City Council, one or the other, I can't remember which, land grab basically being taken over Melton Borough Council as one big council. It's not good, but it's going to happen.
Proposed submission that will go forward on behalf of this council. So I think it's very important that people commit to being here. And
what will actually happen, if anybody knows in the comments, what will actually happen to the councillors' jobs down at Melton Borough Council once devolution has happened? Will there be another sort of, will they keep their jobs? Will they just get sort of filtered over to Leicestershire County Council? How will that actually work? Or doesn't anybody actually know yet because it's not close enough?
Likewise, the older persons review. We had a workshop on the 17th of July or June. We had a workshop anyway a little while back that fed into the process of developing that review. On the 30th of October, we'll have the outcome of that review and the report that will be going to Cabinet on the 19th of November before us. So again, it's an important one to take part in. And it'll be quite a hefty meeting, so bring sandwiches if you need to.
Oh, it's talking my language. Bring a picnic.
Okay.
Bit of pork pie maybe, a bit of Stilton cheese.
Doing that. I'll move on to item 7, and this is the principal
A
item.
few moments later.
Received the annual crime and disorder report. And I'll hand over to the Assistant Director for Customers and Community.
Now, credit where credit is due. Shoplifting down in Melton, burglaries down in Melton, assaults was down in Melton, but after what I seen on the Melton Times thing last night, wow. I mean, and then what happened last night as well, I'm quite shocked. It was not, I don't think it should be on social media or anything like that, because there's obviously investigations going on into this, so I'm not going to comment any more on it. But this type of thing you don't really hear, or we never used to hear, happening in Melton, and now it's becoming more and more of a regular occurrence, and it's worrying. It's very worrying.
It is to commence.
Thank you, Chair. So while this annual report is to assist Scrutiny with its statutory responsibility,
So just before this is actually said and we carry on with the meeting, I've just got a message from Kelly Davis. She's turned around and said, short summary of the devolution, national government want us to be part of a bigger council to save money. The country want us to be one Leicestershire Council. Yeah. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, there are other places that this has happened, I think. And, are we just going to become another suburb of Leicester? That's what I worry about, because Melton has got a lot of history. I mean, look at Syston. You go there now and it's like a bloody ghost town. It's either second-hand shops, coffee shops, or bloody hairdressers. I actually went over there and sort of had a look round and everything, and it's gone downhill in the last 2 years, and I can see the same happening in Melton. 2 shops alone closed this month. We had Clark's closed, we've had Butterwick's closed, there's other shops that have closed. We had Cancer Research closed, that was a second-hand shop. And I worry about small businesses not being able to manage in this town because of business rates and things like that. But, we've got to carry on because times are changing and everything else. And as I say, it is worrying because we've got to think of our children's futures.
In the discharge of its duty. I'm really pleased to bring this report because it's an opportunity to showcase what the team.
Yeah, I was just reading what Kelly put. It is a land grab. Basically, we don't want to be land grabbed, if you want to put it like that. Oakham and Rutland as well. I mean, but the different districts all under one council, and then they'll just basically be able to do whatever they want. It's not right.
And the achievements of a really small team as well. I'll be talking through just
Crime and Disorder Annual
Scrutiny
Update.
Covers.
September
Members will have
2025.
the context and the background of the team as usual, but as there's a lot of crossover, correlation and collaboration with our housing colleagues and our police colleagues, there will also be sort of some feedback from them as well, and an opportunity to ask some questions afterwards. We've also got case studies at the end illustrating the team's proactive and collaborative approach to community safety, which hopefully you will see throughout the report as well. I was going to ask about.
Excuse me, vaping. So I think they're just looking for the particular slide.
The report covers the team, the remits of the team, the case management system, which we've talked about.
Do they need that many team members? And how much does each team member cost? Could that be a saving thing?
Over the last couple of scrutiny, crime and disorder committees, partnership working and collaboration, which is a key theme throughout the work of safer communities. Funding opportunities, a lot of the work and activities that we deliver are related to funding, do require a lot of funding, sourcing of funding, performance and activities of the team. There's some case studies within there as well from both safer communities and working with our housing colleagues as well. And as I mentioned, the ASB management within housing and tenancy services and the case studies towards the end. We will take questions. There'll be opportunity to ask questions at the end, but we are quite flexible. If there's something that comes up and you want to ask as you're going along, it might be easier for us to cover that as we go along as well. And I think, Darren, that's your preference as well. Yeah, to do that.
So I've just been through the whole feed there with my little arrow. As you can see, it's all information. And I want to get to the questions, really, if I'm honest. I'm going to just skip forward to the end a little bit and see what was said.
Made some notes from the earlier point about the
busy doing like the streets and everything else, that I honestly think for the rural thing they need that extra officer just to have
fusion. Are there any questions, and this is about the housing aspect of tackling ASB, that members would like to raise?
Now, ASB antisocial behaviour within the housing stock of Melton Borough Council. This is what they're actually talking about at the moment.
Richard.
Thank you, Chair.
Hotspots tend to be round Betmill Court, Bentley Street, Fairmead, places like that.
What is the responsibility of housing associations? Because we've got a number of new housing developments with housing associations taking on the affordable housing. Is there a legal responsibility for them to do what you're doing?
Simply, yes. So they would have similar processes. They're bound and governed by the same legislation we are. So they're bound by the Housing Act, the Crime and Policing Disorder Act of 2014, I think it is now. But all of those sorts of things apply. So they have the same powers. Slight difference between us and them is that they have what's called an assured tenancy. We have secure tenancies.
So an assured tenancy is normally something you would start out with when moving into some affordable housing or something along those lines, and then after 6 months, maybe a year, you get what you call a secure tenancy if you can prove yourself to be a good tenant.
So they're just slightly different bits of legislation, but essentially they can still take the same action, same powers that we can as themselves.
Lumley.
So this year I've been asked by people in my ward that have got issues with ASB with other tenants very close to them.
So his area is Doctors Lane up near Tesco's.
Asked me to get involved, asked me to contact officers to try and get action on antisocial behaviour. There's been instances where it's just going ongoing and ongoing and ongoing. I've contacted my...
Now this does happen quite a lot in Melton Borough Council. Subpar computer systems, things not being reported, things being lost and things like this. It's a well-known fact that this is what happens.
Contacts which I have to go through. The response I've had from officers in housing has been poor. I have to say there's been instances where there's been housing and it's the tenants which are causing the problems. They've got sort of areas that that we've got sort of like green grass and it starts to grow and grow and grow. It's not been cut at all this summer. There's quite a few properties.
I don't think that's really antisocial behaviour. That would be down to the maintenance team. That would be more maintenance, I'd have thought.
There's been reports of sort of like rat infestations from this.
That's environmental.
Again, I've reported these back. To hopefully to give to officers.
Rat infestations. Where are we living in? Fucking Birmingham. Jesus. Rats. Wow.
The response from officers has been very poor.
Going to say that again. Rats. Wow.
Or don't get any updates. I've been asked to meet housing officers in person about these cases, and they will not meet with me. They've even asked. I've even gone back to the tenants. The tenants who are complaining have asked me to ask them to call them, and they won't. They're not happy.
Now, in that case, I'd be looking at the tenants and how they're actually living, because we do have tenants within Melton that live, let's just say, in substandard. It's their own doing in substandard. They sort of the cleanliness isn't quite as up to standard, and this can cause rat infestations and things like that. This happened recently close to the centre of town, and the council actually did come out and help them and got everything sorted out, and now it looks brilliant. I'm not going to mention the address or anything like that or any names, but
so I think this area's got to have real action. It's all very well having a presentation, which by the way is very good, but these things have got to start. They have got to start to transfer into action, because what's happening is these cases.
Councillor, I'm sorry. You need to get to a question, because that's
it's a comment. But the perpetrators are. It's going on and on and on. There's no action against them, and it's just going. It's just causing the people that are complaining to keep complaining without any outcome. So that's just a comment of improvement. Thank you.
Now, just to add, the Safer Communities team last year did shut down, I think it was 2 flats due to antisocial behaviour near the police station. So you can't, I wouldn't believe they're not doing nothing. I think it's basically a lack of communication, a massive lack of communication, probably due to an archaic computer system that wouldn't surprise me if they're still using Windows Vista or Windows bloody XP. They need to invest in their computer system, and they need to invest in the software that they're using as well. Some of these problems have been like this for years. Yeah.
Councillor Gordon.
I don't know if this is relevant or not, but there is somebody that rides round on a motorbike, and it's really, really loud. Now, they used to come, well, there's two of them, but one is really loud.
Now, I think I've heard Miss Gordon actually mention this before. They go through town at night and everything else, and they've got a really loud, obnoxious exhaust. I wouldn't ride my bike if it sounded like that bugger. I'm worried it sounds too loud as it is, and it isn't loud at all. That'd be classed as noise pollution after a certain time at night, I believe.
And they used to go round and round, not just the estate, right round Melton. So the fact you've had a lot of complaints, I know that, and a lot of people have complained throughout Melton about these two young people. And but it stopped for a while, but now it's started again. And it was not quite last night, but a couple of nights ago, there was going round at 12:30. But they don't just come round once. It's all round Melton, and they come round 2 or 3 times. And I just wondered if there was anything that you could do about it, because I'm sure you must have done something. The police, must have done something when it was reported the first time, because it kept going on at 3 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the morning.
Bloody hell.
And but at the moment it's about 12:30. But it's not.
Is it anything to do with Deliveroo or Just Eats or something like that? Because I know there's a couple of lads in town that actually do deliveries and stuff like that. Who knows?
Not so often, but it still happens, and it's so unfair on people that are woken up in the middle of the night.
Expected a housing question, sorry. Obviously it's an individual case, so I'm not aware of that particular case and what's happened, but if it's put through and reported to us, we do deal with it under antisocial behaviour, and we do have some policing powers under section 59 of the Police Reform Act, where we can seize vehicles that are causing a nuisance, antisocial or inconsiderate behaviour or driving related to that vehicle. So we do have powers, and again I'm aware that our Safer Streets team, our new super duper Safer Streets team, have dealt with noisy motorbikes quite recently. So whether it's one of the same, I don't know. And also, just to let you know as well, because I know this is a bit of a bone of contention, it's something I never mentioned, but the Chief Constable, so Dave Sandall, visited us today and gave us a real positive update on his investment in neighbourhood policing, which was really good. But he's got the autonomy to change the powers of PCSOs, increase them or decrease them. So all their powers are sort of.
Now, a PCSO should have something called a designation card. If you get stopped by a PCSO in town, you can take the shoulder number, you can ask for the ID, and you can ask to see the designation card, so then you know what powers they hold. I learnt this through a bit of studying and things like that. When you ask them to identify themselves, they have to identify themselves as well and give you the shoulder number and the police station they actually work for. Always ask for the designation card so you know that they have got the powers that they say they've got, so they're not overstepping their mark.
Powers that are set within the Police Reform Act, and then Leicestershire Police chose which powers.
This would tell me if he's saying that the PCSOs are going to be given extra powers, they're all going to have new designation cards, and they have to carry them with them. They also have to tell you that they are recording because of GDPR. So if they start recording at the earliest possible time or convenient time, they have to let you know that they are recording. If they just start recording and don't tell you, there's a problem.
And one of them now is around seizing e-bikes. So our PCSOs are now going to have the power to seize e-bikes and e-scooters, which I know is becoming an increasing problem as well. So I hope that's okay. And sorry, I didn't know that particular case.
Now, I personally haven't seen any e-bikes. I've seen a couple of e-scooters, electric scooters going round and stuff like that. And I've seen a couple of electric bikes, but they're pedal assist, which means they wouldn't be able to take it off you. It's the ones that go under their own propulsion. So basically, if you've got like an accelerator and no pedals and things like that, so electric scooters, you're going to get it taken off you.
I sort of just put that in, so you answered that really well. Thank you.
Back to housing. Are there any more questions specifically about the update from Doug on the housing approach on ASB? Okay.
Now, with the number of houses going up in Melton Mowbray by an absolutely humongous amount, and I mean a massive amount, antisocial behaviour is going to increase. We need to increase the police force with, I think it's around about 3,500 to 4,000 new homes being built. So these are obviously going to be occupied, and with that will come higher crime rates, higher antisocial behaviour, you know, and all this sort of thing. So this is all to do with infrastructure and everything else. I don't know what they've raised the council tax by and everything else. This is what pays the police service and the roads and blah, 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 blah.
Does that bring us to a conclusion, Aisha?
Unless there's any other general questions for my list, yeah.
So one final opportunity about any issues raised tonight, if people want to either ask additional questions or make observations. Two hands. Richard.
The extra funding that your team got, there's 5 years. How many in your team on things? 4 of us.
3 permanent and 4.
So I was just looking, because you were saying that the extra hours that you have to put in to do this for the extra money and everything else now, but it seems like with the Safety Melton, which you're doing, fantastic job, don't get me wrong, you're doing faster. It seems like you're stretched to a limit. What other services are suffering now? Now you've been doing a lot more on the surface. I do know some services are suffering, and I know it's hard to give all your attention to Melton on its own, but we are seeing different things that are suffering in the rural community because of it.
So obviously we have to prioritise where things. So for this year, it's been exceptional in respect of the closure orders that we've done. So a lot of officer time has gone in naturally to service that. So yes, some other areas wouldn't have had as much attention as what they would have had in previous years, for the very nature of what we had to deal with. And as you say, we've got a very small team. So you might have seen a little less activity in respect of rural engagement or dealing with some of more minor environment crime issues. Obviously, we do try and service as much of the areas as possible. We do cover quite a wide remit of environment crime and antisocial behaviour. It is a big old area. I would like to think that we do prioritise, and if we had a spat of a lot of rural crime in respect to fly tipping, we would try and put that in.
Is fly tipping considered antisocial behaviour? I think it is, isn't it? Or would that be classed as environmental? Again, they used to have a garage that they used to open I think it was twice a month on a Thursday, and they used to be able to put the, old beds, old microwaves, fridges, things like that in that garage, and the council would take them away. But I don't think that happens anymore. That's why they're always left over where the black bins are, and no one's going to know who's put them there unless they go and get a flaming forensics team to go and take fingerprints and things like that. And I don't think that's going to happen, because that would be a waste of public money.
And John has continued to engage with the WhatsApp groups for the farming community. That's something that he continues to do. So he would still do that. He has limited resource. It is just John and some of the other officers will try and do that, but it is quite difficult sometimes.
Yes, it was mainly for John, really, because I do know he's pushed real short, and fly tipping incidents and stuff like that, which you've just mentioned, and that which is a big concern in the rural community. It just does seem that you're very short-staffed on the amount of. So that's how I'm seeing it now. Like with the case that Kate's doing, she's having to put extra time and effort into that, and we are seeing in the rural community.
So for anybody that's just joined us, this is Melton Borough Council Scrutiny Committee about the Safer Communities team. So the councillors that liaise with the police officers down at the police station in Melton Mowbray, making the community safer, more people on the beat, more people walking around town. We have the radios that Barry from Melton Computers has put in and everything else. And yeah, this is what it's about. They're actually scrutinising it, and that's how far we've got.
We are seeing a bit of a lull in fly tipping being picked up straight away. I do know in my area it is a big concern. If it doesn't get picked up straight away, we end up with more and more and more. And we've just noticed that, and I have spoke to the Wombles and all like that.
So the Wombles are the ones that go around litter picking, even though we have people that are employed to do that. Now, they do a great job. They're completely voluntary. So
and the person on my beat are the Wimbles. And
I think my point is we do have people that we pay council tax for to actually do that. So the more you volunteer, it's...
she's seeing it as well. So it is just, we are getting that, seeing that bit of action. I know it's hard for you to put all your effort into one thing, into all these little bits, but it was just something that was noticed by, not me, by other people that just happened to say it.
Yeah, I take that comment. We have recruited a full-time 12-month contract individual that's going to be helping with some of these cases as well. He's coming up to speed on some of the enviro crime stuff. So I'm hoping that will take some of the pressure off John and allow him to start dealing with more of the high-end fly tipping cases, whereas
now talking of antisocial behaviour, fly tipping, things like that, a couple of months back I did a video down Melton Park, the play close. There's a pond in the play close that was supposed to have been put there. I think it was by Pedigree Master Foods, and now it's under Town Estate. They said they're going to clear it up ready for next summer. Fingers crossed that still happens, so people can use it as a picnic area. People can go down there on the dinner breaks and eat the sandwiches or do whatever else, go down there and relax, because at the moment it's just full of graffiti and everything else. Now, I've obviously got told that this would be sorted. Let's keep an eye on it. Fingers crossed it's a positive thing that's happened, and we'll see what happens.
Israel will be able to pick up more of the lower end enviro crime stuff as well. So hopefully we'll get back on that.
Enviro crime.
Yeah, it is quite tricky. I won't lie.
It's really difficult. I mean, as I say, it's a constant balancing act, trying to prioritise. And just to give a little bit of context to this, generally speaking, when we're talking about case management officers, we would, in an ideal scenario, have officers with 40 to 50 cases, perhaps, to sort of do justice to what they're delivering. Before ISRA started, John and Katie regularly had 70 to 100 cases, I think I would say. So, not going to...
Yes, there is a problem. We know John's absolutely rammed with other things. He's not responding as much, but he's probably looking. But you're just that busy doing like the streets and everything else that I honestly think for the rural thing, they need that extra officer just to help them out, because it's just getting to a stage that things are getting left. But I
can't argue with we need more police officers on the streets. I sort of, I thought you'd have a team for rural, a team for town, and a team for like the outskirts of town. That wouldn't be classed as rural. I'm talking things like Old Dolby, Frisbee on the Way, places like that,
It's my own opinion. Thank you.
Councillor Pritchard, did you wish to add something?
Made some notes from the earlier point about the rural north and rural south crime. Some of the things on the list would be the farm crime, speeding, car accidents, drugs and alcohol, crime and accidents at festivals. There was a survey from officers of
accidents at festivals. It ain't Notting Hill. We have, yeah,
7 years ago, so it's going back some time. They were talking to the public, and they considered road safety a safer communities issue. So you've got things like with concern in villages about school parking, school drop-off point, the road design, where numerous accidents at certain crossroads and such like. There is occasional shoplifting.
Occasional? Before Christmas, it was rife. And it's still happening. I know it's gone down. I know it's gone down because we have the police walking around town now, especially on Tuesdays and Saturdays and things like that, and it is being dealt with. But shoplifting is still going on. It still goes on because we've been sat in, Greggs. People have walked in, and after we've just paid £19 for your steak bake, your can of Coke and your bloody whatever it is you have, and then somebody just walks in, grabs a load of stuff out the freezers and walks straight out. Free meal. It's literally been a free-for-all at Greggs for the past God knows how many years.
Abandoned vehicles, untaxed vehicles, so the off-road vehicles. There's quite a long list of stuff that they're actually dealing with.
Now, is there an AMPR system in Melton? So what that means is if you've got a car and it's untaxed or MOT'd and things like that and insured, the AMPR can actually pick up on this and read your number plate and actually alert the police to it. Have we got one of those in Melton? Because if we haven't, I think we need one. Maybe an AMPR vehicle.
Sorry, Councillor Thwaites.
Is it AMPR?
Thanks. There was a couple of things. The last one's going to be a comment, but the first one was just picking up from the fly tipping comment. So I think it's a great service and it's doing its job, and it's the reporting, how to report it is a brilliant system, that easy to report and all the rest of it. I think I made a comment earlier, which is I think an addition to that would be to actually report back to the person that reported it, to say it's been done or it's been looked at or it's going to be dealt with and that sort of thing.
I'm pretty sure there's an app you can get on your phone to actually report things like this as well. So if you see any fly tipping or something wrong in town that you think is a danger or that could be a health and safety risk, a good example would be the signpost near where Argos used to be has been hit by a truck or something, and it's actually snapped at the bottom, and it's called a finger post, and basically if that falls over, that's going to seriously hurt someone. Now, as soon as I'd done the video or the short on it, the council has actually reported it, so it was reported the same day. So I cannot complain one single bit about that.
Because I think that would be a great encouragement for people to keep doing it. So, because from personal experiences, so you report it and it goes away. Yeah, and you do notice it's happened, but it'd be nice to...
What we don't want is it being reported and then being ignored, because this has been a past thing that has happened. Fly tipping and things like that. I used to go around with my camera and I used to go recording where the fly tipping had happened around Bet Mill Court, down the side of the old BT Exchange, places like these, hot spots for fly tipping just in town alone. Now, they did get cleared up. They did get cleared up after I'd recorded them, so, you know, it did work. It did work, and I will, if I do see anything like that. I don't tend to do that type of video anymore, not since I've been doing the raise the colours and all that sort of thing. You know, I've been a bit busier doing other things. I don't really do these council meetings anymore. But I think, well, with what's coming up, with the local elections coming up next year and the devolution happening, and then the, you know, the whole reform thing, the whole Labour thing and everything else happening, I think it's going to get very, very interesting. And what I'm hoping to see this time round during the local elections is all of the parties down there, all telling everybody what it is they're going to do for this town, and having a democratic and free speech and a safe environment for everybody to actually ask questions, instead of people trying to pull tents over and me having to stop them and being called all the names under the sun just because they stood there handing out leaflets. And people need to get on. They've got to work down at these offices together. I'm going to stop waffling and carry on with the video because I go on to these tangents, you see.
Actually get that feedback that's come through. The final comment I wanted to make, though, was that basically, as a councillor, as all the councillors around here know, that when the residents talk to us, it's not necessarily always the positive stuff that they want to talk to us about. But the only times, or the majority of the times, where they do want to give a positive comment is about your team and the work that they've done. You
see, the thing is, no matter what you do, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So there's always going to be somebody that disagrees with you. There's always going to be somebody that wants to scrutinise the scrutiny. So, I mean, in the way of the world, the way everything works is sticks and stones may break your bones, but calling names will not hurt you, okay? And offence is something taken, not something given. These are the two things that people need to remember, and this might sound really, really bad. I do not condone bullying one single bit, never have, never will. We've all made mistakes, we're all only human, but we've got to stop the shit slinging. And I've said it in 2 videos now, this shit slinging's got to stop, and there's got to be some debate, there's got to be some cohesive discourse, and stop this sodding echo chamber, hoodwinking, leading people up the primrose path, and all the rest of it. It's got to stop. Because if it doesn't stop, things won't get sorted, things will get worse, and then it just comes back straight to where the councillors are, and they've got to sit there and then be scrutinised even more, and then it turns into this vicious circle, and it isn't working.
To me, that's a brilliant advert for the council and for the work you've done. It's a shame Katie's just gone, because I mean,
there's 2 ways: work with them or without them. It's entirely up to the general public, isn't it?
The 2 times where somebody's picked me out and wanted to pass a comment, a positive comment.
Democracy.
The work that Katie's done. in some of the ASB stuff, which is brilliant. And just say thanks for the team, basically.
I know.
Gloomy at that end. I can't always see Sarah. Yeah, Sarah.
I was just going to obviously make representation as chair of the Melton Safer Partnership that the biggest issue we have in the rural communities is lack of reporting. We're quite good at anecdotes amongst communities. And
I don't think it's lack of reporting. I think it's lack of communication between at the council itself, lack of communication. What will happen is somebody will go up and approach a councillor will report it to the council, to wherever it is that they need to report it to, and then nothing happens. So the councillor will report it again and still nothing happens. This is what Simon Lumley was saying. That's the issue.
Communities sharing information with each other.
Now the Safer Communities team have been quite good. I sort of I've seen it safer in town. I feel safer in town. I feel safe walking around with my camera. I enter shops now and people say hello to me, and people have actually started approaching me and ask me, are you recording? If I say yes, they'll say, okay, I'll talk to you in a bit. And if they say I don't want to be on camera, I stop recording. And actually being shown that little bit of respect, that's all it ever took. Now, before that, I was being called the C word. I was being called all the names under the sun. On social media, I've been called some downright disgusting names. So I know that some of, how it actually works. And it ain't fucking on.
We really need help in is people reporting it in. I know for a fact that this team, they are stretched, but also this team are really stretched as well. But what they do respond to, and I certainly know what Inspector Richardson does daily, all of his duties is check what crime is happening across his area. And my encouragement and my plea is encourage people not just to tell us the anecdotes of, oh, I saw this or that suspicious car.
The problem with that is the stigma about being called a grass. There is a massive stigma and there is a massive trust problem with the police, with what's going on in the country at the moment. We see it day in, day out on YouTube. The general respect and the general trust of the police has completely gone. I seen something happen in Leicester a couple of months back. A lady stopped at a Palestinian protest and started asking questions. She was with a young child. The protesters started calling her fascist, they started calling her Nazi, they started calling her racist, they started calling her all the names under the sun, and she lost her temper because they were calling her all these names that were unjustified. The police were called because she was stood there shouting at these people. The next thing she knows, she's being arrested. This is all under Rupert Matthews's powers and everything else in Leicester. Where was she supposed to take the child or give the child? What was supposed to happen? Go and take a look on DP audits. Now, I asked a couple of questions about that and I never got a reply. Again, the lack of communication. This happens.
Or this, report it in, because it's when you report it in, we get those figures and then resources get allocated, certainly in the police and in the team here. If we start to see hotspots, then they will be acted upon, and that's where the working groups from the Safer Melton Partnership come, because if we see
what needs to happen is, and this is just my opinion using my free speech, the police need to be out in the public asking questions, talking to people, liaising with people, actually getting to know people, actually getting to know the local communities, making sure people are okay. The councillors need to do the same. They need to go out into their constituents and actually stand there and talk to people and listen to people and actually, say, I hear you, I actually hear you. So if you were the councillor, let's just say for Fairmead, take a walk up Fairmead, go round Fairmead, go. If that was me, I would be up there every single day with my camera doing what I need to do to try and find out exactly what it is that's happening within that community and trying to actually sort some problems out. I don't see many councillors doing that. One councillor in particular does do that because she's always around the community and I always see her every single time she's round. No names mentioned. Again, I don't mention names in videos anymore. So take a leaf out of somebody else's book because it works. It's proven to work. And if there is something to report, remember you've reported it to the councillor. The councillor may have reported it to the council, but where does it go from there? That's what needs to be looked at. What is the tier system that they are using to try and get it actually sorted out?
Emergence of an issue. At the moment, we've got an emergence of an issue around youth crime. That was called within days, without me as chair being involved, but I saw the team and the police pull together very quickly with education establishments to do.
Now, I can't say too much here, and I've got to be very careful what I say. Something happened at the skate park in town a few days ago. I think that skate park should be shut down. It is a magnet for this type of trouble. It's an absolute magnet for it. Now, it's on the Melton Times page on Facebook. I wouldn't go and take a look if I were you. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking, disgusting, vile. But yeah, I think they should shut the skate park down until they've got this under control, under some type of control, because in the holidays and stuff like that, I heard things like this happening quite a lot. It just so happens that this one was particularly bad.
The work around the young people involved. If we become aware of an issue in the rurality, and also as councillors, it's not just necessarily the frequency of those things. If something happens in your community that's of real concern to the community and might not be happening as frequently, that might carry more weight just because of the impact it's had on your community. And I'd encourage you to report it into both teams, and then it will be raised up. And anything we need to do around that, as I've said, I'm coming out to one of the parish councils because we're noting they're not tapping into funding either that's available. We will do that work.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, great.
Sometimes throwing money at something doesn't sort it out. Again, you need to be out in the community and you need to be liaising, actually opening a dialogue with these people and actually gaining their trust. Because the trust level with the public and the police at the moment is at an all-time, I've got hiccups, an all-time low. You need to regain that trust and police the streets like proper police. Do you know what I mean? Not looking on Facebook for somebody said a hurty word, somebody's called somebody this, somebody's called somebody that, somebody did that. That's just crap.
What they're doing, but it's a bit like I was saying. We do have on a group that I'm on. It's a farming one, which is a WhatsApp group, and John knows it, and I don't know whether Darren knows too much about it with the group that we're on with Matt Houghton. So it's really, really good because we put something down there, and the first thing they'll say, report it in 999 on a serious crime, and so you ring up. Well, there was one issue today. I won't go about it, but it took 3 attempts before there was a response.
Wow. Now, maybe this needs to be spoken to Rupert Matthews. Again, going to my previous video. The one that jumped ship from the Tories because he's a career politician, in my opinion. But if it takes that long to get through for a 999 call, 3 attempts, you should be through on the first attempt. The first attempt, especially when somebody's life could have been at risk.
Which that's not good enough, really, for me. Now, if it takes
Totally
one
agree.
person getting a high rate on a WhatsApp group because there's no response been happening because it rang through, that's not good enough, really, for me.
Now, over Christmas this year, just over Christmas, last year was really bad for crime around Melton. There were shops being broken into, there were bikes being stolen, there was burglaries, there was people being beaten up, there were people being mugged. All sorts. I've never known Melton to be so bad. It was literally every day. I'd walk into town and I would see a forensics van or a police van or something had happened. I reported on it. I shown what was happening. I got some pushback for it, but I think that was in the interest of the community, let's say. Since the Safer Communities team have been in sort of, I wouldn't say power, in some sort of control, it has calmed down a hell of a lot. We do still get crime. Again, this is only going to get worse. It's going to get worse because we've got all these houses being built and we haven't got the infrastructure to actually hold all these people and keep control of Melton. I can see it's an accident waiting to happen.
But what the rural team's doing is fantastic, just calming the folks down, even on that page. And it's a bit like anything. John will know about it. He'll see it like fly.
I forgot to say we nearly had vigilante groups actually driving around Melton looking for these people. especially when the vans were being broken into, because people were having their livelihoods stolen out of the backs of the vans. Now, I know it's simple to take your stuff out your van, but just having your van broken into is bad enough.
I tip in here, here, and here, mark it on there, and John says, "Can you ring it through?" I did the same. I rang it through. I didn't even get a response back or anything. No one come to see the evidence. The evidence I got, I went down and confronted someone down in Bingham. I got evidence of through their Facebook page and everything else, confronted them, and I was still waiting for a reply from the rural team to come down, and I took it on my own duty to go there. I didn't take the material to them because I didn't know.
Now, he's got to be careful here that he doesn't prejudice any case.
How they'd feel having 2.5 ton of rubbish dumped on their doorstep. And it was just one of those sort of issues. You don't know, you ring it in, if it doesn't get, don't come back to see you, like you're saying. It's hard to carry on, keep reporting things. And it's just one person, and a lot more others are doing the same.
Could I just add? I was just going to add, where there are failings, because no one's pretending there aren't, what I would certainly say.
There you go. Actually admitting there are failings is a start to regaining that trust of the community.
And just with, as a councillor, where I've had issues, I had a particular failure in response from call handlers within the police, and I raised that, and you do get a good response in terms of Inspector Richardson will look into that as to what's happened, why there's been a failing.
3 phone calls isn't a good response, but yeah, it does need looking at.
Because we want to improve all the time. So if the farmers feel let down today, especially if on the WhatsApp group your beat officer's saying ring it in, or somebody's saying ring it in, if somebody typically is saying ring it in, then that's something that the police will want to know about. So if there are those cases, I would really encourage you to bring it to everybody's attention. I'm happy for that to, obviously go directly to Inspector Richardson if there's a failing, but we would review that as well as a Safer Mountain Partnership. Thank you.
I suppose for me, for a start, was that a failing on a 999 call, or was it a 101? Right, okay. Right, yeah. Okay, so
You've not turned your microphone off, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Getting really frustrated by it. Yeah. Yeah.
A few moments later.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just a couple of things, and this is why we just trying to introduce as many reporting mechanisms as possible. We receive, well, over the summer, the calls that Leicestershire Police were receiving was between 15 and 1900 actionable calls a day. The 999 service is one of the best performing services in the country, and the 101 service, believe it or not, and I don't know how we keep it together, is still very efficient compared to others, but it's certainly not perfect. And if you call at the wrong time, when it's...
The thing is, nothing is perfect, and again, you're going to get scrutiny for it. Well, like I said before, you'll be damned if you do, you'll be damned if you don't. There's always going to be somebody. There's always going to be somebody. If there's one thing I've learned, you can't please everyone.
Peak demand, we are going to struggle, and that's why we have the internet.
The sound's gone for some reason. I think what he was going to say was basically they have the WhatsApp group for the police as well. You can report things on there. I don't know what's happened to the sound, guys. I'm not quite sure. His microphone's actually gone off now.
Hello.
Excellent.
Hello. We're back. Very strange. Yeah, so we do get the frustrations, and thank you for the positive comments around the rural crime team, because we believe they've made a significant difference. My only thing is, and I was thinking what your comments earlier on, how it felt very, very town focused this, and I think something we can take away from the police is just getting a bit of a page report dedicated to the rural issues, what the rural crime team are doing, and some of that data.
Okay, well, I'm going to allow you the final comment, Councillor Holmes, and then I'm going to draw the meeting to a close.
Right. The people who weren't on the council, there was a man called Rahman. Fantastic man. I don't know whether you met him, but you only got to say to him, there's rubbish here or there. Within 24 hours, it had gone. Now, why he left, he didn't know why he was leaving either. It was a very unfortunate thing that he went. You were talking about, we've talked about fly tipping, we're talking about, and I have done this many times, asked if the Wombles could have everything collected. Because it can sit there for days and days and days, and nothing, it doesn't matter how many times you ring in to this council, so many times, and then you...
Exactly, like I say, the lack of communication. It goes to one person and it's supposed to go to another. They have these different areas in the council, so you'll have environmental, you'll have all that sort of thing, and it's supposed to go to the right area, and it doesn't get reported. It doesn't get put through. So as I said, as a council tenant, you can go to your local councillor and say, okay, there's some fly tipping outside my house that needs clearing up, it stinks, I'm worried we might have a rat problem or a rat infestation. The councillor will then go to the council and report that. What happens to it from there? What actually happens? It seems to me not a frickin' lot.
You get foxes, you get spreading it all over. I think you'll agree with me, Councillor Sharp, it happens, doesn't it? Then you mentioned festivals. Now, the festival is in my ward, generally. When we, on our licensing committee, put down...
Now, what this actually means is if you're going to do a festival and it's going to have, let's just say, for example, alcohol. If you've got an alcohol licence, you need to have a gambling licence and all these sorts of things. You have to have certain licences in place to be able to hold certain events, to be able to sell or do certain things, if that makes sense.
What should happen, then we should keep on with that. That is what is written down, and that was written down by this council.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But it doesn't happen.
And clearly, the communication system at Melton Borough Council is absolutely knackered.
So I don't know quite how we go on with that, because things were not done, and for instance, on each road junction, there was supposed to be monitors on each road junction. There have been fatalities on this because there's been nobody there. And these are people who are running the events. That's who are supposed to be there. And it's not.
Sorry, just confirm what event you're talking about. What festival?
These are the ones that are there are problems.
Right. Okay.
You feel as though you're tied, because although everything...
Feel like you're hitting a brick wall all the time.
...is written down how it should be, then when it comes to it, it doesn't happen. So, you get these promotion people, you pass...
So I think that's the end of the meeting, guys. The microphone's gone off again. So this has been Street Switch Photography. There's been some quite interesting comments within the meeting. I wasn't going to show you all of this bit where all the documents were and everything else. You can go and watch the whole meeting for that. It's very monotonous. It's very boring. I find it very boring. I like to get to the actual nitty-gritty and get what people are actually saying within the meeting, and find out what it is they're trying to get across to the what they're being scrutinised about and stuff. But yeah, quite interesting. And again, I think I'm going to say it, I think the skate park should be shut down until further safety measures can be put in to make it a safe environment for people to go down there. And then right next door to that, you've got that area that I was talking about that the town estate is supposed to be sorting out next year. That is used for general drug use, general drinking use, and general other things going off in there, which is not very nice, right near a children's park and play area. These are two areas that I'm quite shocked about that nothing more has been done. The skate park should be somewhere safe for your child to go and play and ride the skateboard, scooter, or whatever it is they do down there, meet the friends and everything else. Not to go down there and happen what's happened over the past couple of years. And it has happened many times. I'm pretty sure there's some unreported ones as well that have happened. And this should not be happening. And we're seeing it more and more now. And it needs to stop. Anyway, this has been Street Switch Photography. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Go and hit the notification bell to make sure you get my next video. Give me a big thumbs up or a big thumbs down. If you've, I'm big into free speech. If you get nasty or insultive, I'll just delete the comment and I won't even bother reading it all. So please don't get nasty, but just please bear in mind that I also have a right to free speech, and I also have a right to not have to fucking listen to it. Speak to you soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.
Street Switch Photography.